Bit of a change of plan in today's video, folks. Instead of doing the 2 Champions League games, we're actually going to just do the one, the final game against Borussia Dortmund, because, I'm not going to lie, I looked at the table and realised after winning our first 3 games, the chances of us not qualifying were slim to none. And after playing Copenhagen for the second time, we have qualified for the next round. So today, it's going to be Borussia Dortmund and Manchester City. How you doing, guys, and welcome to part 17 of Let's Go Villa. I'm Stu. Thanks for joining me in today's video, where we are going to be playing against, as I've just mentioned, Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League and Manchester City in the Premier League. And if you're excited to see how those games go, please do leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well, so you never miss any of the lovely Football Manager content to come on the channel. Since you were last with us, we've been very, very good. There's 2 reasons why I didn't want to do the second game against Copenhagen, because I'll be honest with you, it's probably not the team you guys want to see me play. I thought big team in Manchester City in the league as well will add to that. But it also adds another interesting wrinkle to the season as well. Because if I show you the Premier League table properly, let's go to that one. We are the only unbeaten team left in the league, which is utter madness. We're currently top as well. We are top after everyone has played at least 13 games. It's absolutely insane. We are a very, very good football team. I mean, when you look at Coutinho's a 3.5 star player to play, a 3.5 star quality player in our squad. He should be more than that. But the rest of the team is that good. That's the thing. I mean, Tammy's 4.5 star at the moment. He's been incredible. By the way, Tammy Abraham, 13 goals so far. He has started scoring again. It's not quite as consistent as it was at the beginning of the season. I mean, I'm putting that down to being an absolute fluke. Did score a hat-trick very recently, though, so he is definitely in the goals. Erling Haaland on 22 for the season. Yep, it's Erling's world. We're all just living it. But Tammy Abraham would be the top goal scorer in the Premier League. If not for him, he'd also be the best player. Go PARMA is next on that list as well. He's the 3rd best player in the league. 7 assists. He is definitely starting to come good. And Emi Martinez, top of the clean sheets pile as well. But yeah, we've been playing really, really good football. So you last saw us at the Juventus game. Since then, was it Juventus or was it... It might have been Brighton, actually. Well, Brighton we did very, very well. Brentford... got past them quite easily in the EFL Cup, 3-1. Ollie Watkins played in that game. Jacob Ramsey scoring as well. Coutinho then got us past Manchester United. Juventus then shellacked us, and that was a bit of a disappointing one. I've got to be honest with you. 3-0 against them. Could not get going at all. Very, very difficult. Tammy missing a penalty in that one as well was not ideal. But then we did bounce back against Leicester. Emil Smith-Rowe getting us in there. And then we destroyed Burnley 5-0. Tammy with a hat-trick. One of them was a penalty. Did put the kind of the demons in the Juventus game to bed with that penalty. Go PARMA and Alvaro Carrillo, who's finally a defensive midfielder. It's taken a long time to get there, but he's finally a defensive midfielder. And then Tammy got a couple against Copenhagen, and then Ollie Watkins got us past Crystal Palace. We rested Tammy in this game. Tammy has had a bit of a rest because he has played almost every single game. He's missed like 1 or 2 games, and they've only been the EFL Cup games, so they've been midweek games. So he's played a lot of football. But as you've already seen, that leaves the Premier League table looking like this. We're looking good at the moment. I don't think we'll win the league this season. If we do, it'll be utter madness. However, we have got a very, very good side, so it also wouldn't surprise me overly that much. In terms of the Champions League group, we have already qualified, and the lowest we can finish is 1st. We've actually been that good this season. Although we lost that 1 game, no one else has really had a really good season either. I mean, if we look at this group in closer detail, that's not quite as close a detail as I want to see. I want to have a proper look at the group. If I do that one, there we go. That's what I want to do. So, having a look at this group, as you can see, we're the only team that's won more than 2 games. Both Borussia Dortmund and Juventus have only won the 2 games. And, I mean, Juventus have lost 3. And Borussia Dortmund have lost 2. So we've been really, really good in a group that I thought we were really going to struggle in. We've done really, really well. So today is a bit of a dead rubber. It doesn't really matter how we do against Dortmund, which I think will take the pressure off of us. And we are at home as well. So let's just see what we do, shall we? It's doing that thing again, and I don't much care for it. There we are. So here is the 11 we're going to be taking with us to Villa Park. I don't know why I said it like that. To play against Borussia Dortmund. It's Martinez in goal. Aarons, Todibo, Mings, Bjorkan in defence. Why is Bjorkan in defence? He shouldn't be. It should be. Lucas Digne. Sander Berge should be out there as well for Christopher Ayer. Why were they the wrong way round? I think it's because of the weird star thing, wasn't it? I mean, I'd reset some of this. I don't know why it's unreset itself. Utter madness. Utter madness. But, let's start that again. It's Martinez in goal. Aarons, Todibo, Mings, Digne in defence. Aya, Ramsey and Vitinha in the midfield with Palmer, Smith Rowe and Abraham starting up front. Got no real other injury news. Pedro Gonçalves is still out for up to 2 months. But it's not as long as I thought, actually. That gap has definitely shrunken down since he first had the injury. So I was initially thinking maybe we need to bring in another Mazzala in January. We might not now. I mean, Jacob Ramsey's done the job well. Coutinho's filled in there as well. Smith Rowe and Cole Palmer can both play there. So, realistic. Fornals. I always forget about Paulo Fornals. We probably don't need anyone. But we have got the finances to do it if we need to. Vitinha, by the way, played really well in his last game. I say really well, he got 7. But he played a lot better than he has done recently. So very happy with that. Right, let's get into the game and let's see whether we can put Dortmund to the sword in the final group stage of the Champions League. Let's go. It does feel a bit ridiculous to say that this is an absolute nothing game. The fact that we've dominated this Champions League group with 2 really good teams in Dortmund and Juventus in the way that we have is mind-blowing to me, especially considering how comprehensively Juventus beat us in that game. And Tammy Abraham hits the post. Very unlucky there. Those were the kind of chances that at the beginning of the season, he was just putting in the back of the net for fun. So, I don't know whether he had that kind of new club bounce maybe, just came in, was playing really, really good football. Lucas Digne just puts it just over. I think that might have hit the crossbar there as well. A bit more woodwork on there. I don't know what it is, but it's a bit frustrating because Tammy looks like a peak Erling Haaland. When I say peak Erling Haaland, I mean Erling Haaland right now, circa 2022. But he's not playing badly, that's the thing. He's not playing badly at all. Vitinha does really well to intercept there. Gets it into Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer should be making it 1-0, and he does, and it's an assist for Vitinha. That is more like it from him, and Cole Palmer continuing that movement back to the form he was in the last couple of seasons. Not that he's played badly this season, he's just not played as well as he has. It's a lovely little pass to him, and Cole Palmer just puts it in the back of the net. Calm as you like. 1-0. That is fantastic. Let's get another one, boys. We're still in that trend every now and then of having games where we get a goal and then just can't find the breakthrough to another goal. I'd like to get a couple here today. And again, it feels ridiculous to say. When you look at that Dortmund side, they've got some great players in this team still. But it does feel like they've invested very sparingly. Like Jonathan Tah is in the defence alongside Mats Hummels, which is an improvement. But they've only got I've forgotten his name. Marco Reus, him, yeah. They've only got Reus up front. They've still got Torgan Hazard on the wing. They've still got Rafael Guerreiro. They've got some good players in there, but Emre Can's still in the midfield as well. They've got Ndombele in there. That's a new addition. Cole Palmer gets to Jacob Ramsey. Jacob Ramsey makes it 2. And what I really like about this team is we've still got a core of English players. Aarons is playing today. Mings is playing. We've got Ramsey. We've got Palmer. We've got Smith Rowe. We've got Abraham. There's a real core of English players. Not just in the squad, but in the strongest 11 as well. Cole Palmer. I feel sorry for Emi Buendia. He signed a new contract. Cole Palmer's keeping him out of the team at the moment. And Smith Rowe actually is doing a good job at that as well. So, we've got nice problems to have, I think it's classed as, isn't it? When you've got players who just are keeping good players out of the team. It's a nice problem to have, and we've got that second goal, which I wanted. I would also like a third goal. I know I want a lot, but what can I say? I'm a greedy boy. Hazard now. Gets it to Guerreiro. Guerreiro, nice little touch. I do love Rafael Guerreiro in FM. Hummels, looking for options. Tries to get it to Reus. Aya just heads it down, though. Just says, not today, sir. Not today. And Martinez picks it up. Yeah, I think that... I can't remember what the point I was making. I was making a point, wasn't I? Tammy was... Everything was touching, was turned to goal, which is a bit unrealistic. I think he probably had a bit of a new club, returning to an old club, if anything. That kind of bounce that you sometimes get. And I think now he's levelling out a little bit. But I think he's going to be somewhere in the middle. I don't think he's going to be as wasteful as he is at the moment. I think he is going to be more consistent, and he'll probably score a couple of games, go a game or two without scoring, score a couple of games. I think that's what he's going to end up being. But he is shattered at the moment. Remember, he's played every single game bar the Carabao Cup games. Up until the last game, I rested him for the Crystal Palace game. And Tammy's in here. He should be getting a goal. Tammy Abraham hits it at the goalkeeper. I mean, you could argue that's good goalkeeping, so I'll let him off there. Yeah, he actually had the message come up saying he's tired, so we've rested him for 4 days. We probably need to rest him for a little bit longer, so he probably is still tired, and Tammy heads it just over. But he's getting in the right positions, and that's the thing. As long as he's getting in those positions, goals will eventually come. But the rest of the team is able of scoring goals. while he's not. Ramsey scored. Palmer scored. We've seen Smith Rowe pop up with a few. We know Ajer is a danger from set pieces as well as Tammy. Smith Rowe, by the way, is in here. And Smith Rowe forces a save out of Nubel. It's going to be a corner. And we'll see whether Tammy, Ajer or Mings or even Todibo, all of them have a chance of getting on the end of this. It's Ajer there and he puts it just wide. Just wide. And it is still 2-0. And that is going to be half time. Very good half of football from us. Considering it's a team at the level of Borussia Dortmund, I think we have to be very, very happy with our performance here so far. Very happy indeed. Right, let's go into the second half. I'm not going to change anything. Happy with how it's going. More of the same, boys. More of the same. Yeah, Tar and Nubel both. I mean, we know Nubel's having a great game. Tar's having a decent one as well. But the rest of the team, other than Rossi at fullback, having absolute shockers today. Absolute shockers. We are going to demand a bit more. I would like another goal. With how we've played, we should be scoring more. We are going to consider making some changes, though, because we have got some tired boys out there. Tammy might be one of them. Just purely because he still needs a bit of a rest. And I think resting him would be the wise thing to do. I think we are going to do that. We'll give some more minutes to Ollie Watkins. That feels like the fair thing to do. We're going to take Smith Rowe off as well. Buendia's going to come on. I think we've only got 3 changes because it's Champions League. We do indeed. So we will consider leaving the last one. No, we could just make it. I think we'll just make it, actually. Sander Berge can come on for Ajer. Ajer is tired a little bit. He probably needs a bit of a rest as well. And Sander Berge is a more than capable replacement for him. More than capable indeed. I am surprised no one's actually come in for Sander Berge with the limited amount of football he's had. They've had an injury after making all their changes. They are now down to 10 men. It's gone from bad to worse for Borussia Dortmund. Oh my word, I feel bad for them. I mean, they've had the FM thing happen to them. Make all your changes, injury straight away. That's what's happened there. Right, Rossia to Emre Can. Emre Can, back to Rossia. Murray, I don't know who that is actually, but goes back to Tar. Murray now looking for options ahead of him. Gets it to Rossia. Rossia has overlapped him. Gone back to Emre Can. Maitland-Niles is in their midfield as well, which is a decision. Fair play to them. Fair play. Royce now looking for Hazard, but Todibo just swats it out of the air. That's where they're missing that extra man in the attack. That is what they are missing. Right, Vitinha. Down to Mings. Mings now looking to break out defence. Gets it back to Vitinha. Vitinha looking for Buendia. Buendia gets it back to Vitinha. Nice work from those two. Buendia whipping it in. Jacob Ramsey's there. It is 3, but the referee is going to be checking it. I don't know. I feel like there is a whiff of the offside about this, but I'd like it not to be, if that's okay. Alright, fine. I'll just settle for 2 then, shall I? It's a shame. It was a nice goal from Jacob as well. Very nice indeed. I'll take the referee's word for it on that one. But it is still 2. It puts us on 15 points. Borussia Dortmund, as it stands, going out. Juventus is going to be the ones who are going through. It's whipped in. Watkins was looking for it. And I do think there's a penalty. And, of course, Tammy's off the pitch. So I don't actually know who's going to be taking this penalty because Danny Ings was our penalty taker last season. He was our number 1 penalty taker. I would imagine, looking at the list of players, it might actually be Go PARMA, which worries me a bit because he's never scored a penalty. He's missed a fair few in his time, but he's never scored one. Now, the other thing is, this might not get given as a penalty. It might end up just being... Oh, no, it is a penalty. It might just end up being no penalty and we get nothing. But no, it's Ollie Watkins who's going to take it, actually. Take it back, Cole. Take it back completely. Ollie's going to step up, try and get a goal. Had limited game time this season. And it shows a little bit, but he is going to keep a hold of the ball here. Can he whip it in? Gets it back to Cole. Cole looking for options. Tries to get it through the crowd of people. Can't quite get it. Vitinha is going to get back on the ball. Back to Lucas Digne. Lucas Digne tries to cross it in, but the highlight ends, so I assume nothing happens. Max Almans is the only player today who has had a poor game, although Ollie obviously didn't have a great one with the penalty miss there. However, that will do. We've won the game. We've won the group. Absolute madness. Absolute madness indeed. And Juventus do end up going through a 2-0 win against Copenhagen. Copenhagen did get 4 points in the end, so they did beat one of the teams. It must have been Borussia Dortmund, who finished on 7 points. Utter madness of a group stage. We get a couple of million in the bank as well. We do need that money because we are losing a bit of money at the moment. Go PARMA had a really good game there. We have to praise him. Right, give me a minute and we'll be back for the Man City game, where I suspect we probably won't be unbeaten in the league anymore afterwards. I'll see you in a minute. We are back for the game against Manchester City, and this is the 11 we're going to be using to hopefully keep our unbeaten streak alive in the Premier League. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll give it our best shot. It's Martinez in goal, Aarons, Todibo, Mings, Digne in defence, Aya, Ramsey and Vitinha in the midfield with Palmer, Smith Rowe and Abraham starting up front. It's an unchanged 11. I could have just said that, really. I was tempted, if I'm being honest with you, to go a bit more defensive and start the likes of Bjorkan and possibly even start Matty Cash and Sander Berge. But we've gone with the same 11. They did well for us. We've rested everyone as best as we can. Everyone's on a heavy match workload, but they're our best 11. It gives us the best chance of winning. So let's go to the Etihad and see if we can get 3 points, shall we? Let's go. One little wrinkle to add into this game is that Amine Gouiri is a player we were looking to sign in the transfer window in the summer. He was our first, well, not our first necessarily, but he was one of our main targets for a left-sided player. I think we originally looked at Emil Smith Rowe. We ruled him out because we thought he was going to be too expensive. And then we ended up going with Gouiri because Gouiri was just there for a bargain price, but is a quality player. We ended up going through the transfer dealings with him. He's got a contract agreed and everything like that, and he ended up going to Manchester City instead. Interestingly, he's not in the squad for Manchester City whatsoever. He's not starting up front, which he's typically has been doing from the looks of things, especially looking at the system they got. I mean, Haaland has now changed to being an advanced forward in a 4-4-2. Manchester City just playing on a different planet here. I mean, they're only in 4th, though, so they've had a shocking season despite all of Haaland's goals. Their defence must be leaky as anything. But, yeah, there's no sign of Gouiri in their squad. I've even looked on their bench. No Gouiri there whatsoever. So I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if he might be injured or if he's just tired and they're resting him. But not in there whatsoever. So, I mean, honestly, it's probably a good thing for us because it's one less quality player they've got. But they're playing Nicolas Gonzalez up front, who is no slouch himself, alongside the main man, Erling Haaland. We are playing some nice football here. That is a lovely pass to Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe is in here. Tammy was there as well. He could have squared it to Tammy. It could have been 1-0 to us, but it's not. And they don't counter-attack in the end, so we're all right. But what an opportunity that was. Smith Rowe went for glory. Tammy was there. Didn't take the chance when we had it. And as it stands, it is still 0-0, looking like it's going to be that going into half-time. It is. Chances aplenty for Manchester City. We have not had as many, but we have shown signs that we can get something in there. I am just going to say... What do we say? I don't really know. I'm not going to say it's a good first-half performance. We'll say that one. Right. Need to tell these two to calm themselves down. We don't want to be getting any silly players sent off. We're also going to be telling Cole, Vitinha, Jacob, maybe Emil as well. Yep, sure. Not been good enough to get it together. Right, let's go again. Demand more from the boys because we are good enough to get a result against this Manchester City team. We are good enough to stay unbeaten in the Premier League. It would be madness if we did, but we're good enough to do it. Smith Rowe. What an interception that is. Tries to get it into Tammy. Tammy chests it down. And Tammy Abraham, subject to the referee, has put us 1-0 ahead. Big game, Tammy. But has he? He has. It's 1-0. We go ahead. It's a lovely ball. Smith Rowe. I tell you what, I've criticised him early on in the season. I don't know how much I've criticised him on camera, but to begin with, certainly, I weren't happy with him. Not in the slightest. But when he does moments like that, I can't help but be absolutely thrilled with him. I haven't mentioned as well, he's on the goal 50 top players in the world. He's in the last 10 of them, don't get me wrong. He's like 47th or something like that. I'll put it up on the screen now. But he's in that top 50 players in the world. And it's incredible to see. I'm very, very happy with him. I didn't expect us to have signed someone in that list. I just saw it come up and it said Aston Villa players as a little section. I was like, what? So I'm very happy with him as a signing at the moment because A, he's in that list, and B, he's having moments like that where he can just grab a game by the scruff of the neck and just go, nah, we're scoring in this attack and there's nothing you can do about it. Beautiful stuff. And we're still playing on top at the moment. Digne, looking for options. Going to go back to the keeper. No, goes to Vitinha instead. Vitinha to Tyrone. Tyrone's probably going to go back, I imagine. It goes to Aya instead, and we find a way forward. Jacob Ramsey now gets it into Tammy. Tammy going to look for a second. Puts it just wide. He puts it just wide. What a chance for Tammy. He's starting to frustrate me a little bit because he's having a lot of chances like that, and he's just putting them wide. That Midas touch he had at the beginning of the season, I don't know what's happened to it, but he is very half and half. Oh, Ayer with a beautiful tackle on De Bruyne there, but it's a poor pass from him in the end. Abraham can't get on the end of it. Mings cuts the pass out there from Haaland beautifully, though. And Digne going to try and start things off. Kimmich does really well, though. Oh, this is a lovely game for the neutral. There's just some nice little tackling in that midfield area. Lots of interceptions is really nice. Right, Grealish now tries to get it in, gets it into Rodri. Haaland's there. Haaland makes it 1-1. It is subject to the referee again. He's going to have a chat with the little man in his ear. Little man in his ear is probably going to get it given. Again, I don't know what the tell is to know if a goal is or isn't offside. And it is onside. Fair play. Fair play. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Manchester City. You would expect them to do really, really well in every game. And Erling Haaland is just an absolute machine. Cole Palmer is shattered, as is Jacob Ramsey. Aaron's his brother. Right, Smith Rowe looking to try and get in the box. He goes for the shot. He shouldn't have gone for the shot there, really, if we're being honest. Probably should have held off there. Right, we're going to wait a few minutes, then we're going to make some changes. I think we need to freshen things up a little bit because the two strikers are playing really, really well for Manchester City. I think the first change we're going to... I mean, Max Allen's had a shocker, so I think Matty Cash has got to come on. Ezri Konsa's going to come on as well for Todibo. We'll just bring someone on who isn't on a yellow card into that defence. Cole Palmer hasn't had a good game against his former employers as well. We'll bring him off. And we might make a fourth change just to freshen things up in the midfield as well. I think it's going to be Coutinho. Going to come on for Jacob Ramsey. He'll come on as that Mazzala. I think he'll do a decent job there. Coutinho's not had the best of games today, but then he is playing against Manchester City. I'll let him off on this one. That'll do. Let's do that. Let's just encourage the boys. Come on. We can get 3 points from this game. We have come back in this game superbly. As it stands, though, we'd stay top of the table subject to Liverpool's game. Cancelo has had to go off with an injury, though, and Kyle Walker or Gallen has had to come on. I don't know which one. It's probably going to be Kyle Walker because he's not got a rating next to his name. That would make sense. Right, what do? We've got one more change left. We've got 10 minutes left. Do we go for consolidation and say that we're going to have a draw, or do we try and push on and go for a win? I feel like the sensible thing to do is to say, let's accept that we're going to get a draw here. A draw is a good result against Manchester City. Let's be absolutely clear on that. So I think what we're going to do is ignore that completely, and we're going to bring on Raspadori on the wing. That's not the change I wanted to make. That's the opposite of the change I wanted to make. Why did I do that? I wanted to bring him off. Vitinha. He's not had a bad game at all. And you know what? I was going to bring Raspadori on. Ollie Watkins is going to come on. You know why? Because it's Ollie Watkins and he likes a goal every now and then. That's why. I said I was going to consolidate. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing it. I want to win. I want to win the game. I want to win the game. We're going to demand more in the last few minutes. Right, Buendia. Gets it to Ayer. Ayer trying to hold the ball up. Gets it back to Brendy. Brendy to Ayer. Ayer whips in. Looking for Ollie. Ollie flicks it on. But he just heads it into the path of Ederson, who just gets the ball. Gratefully clutches it to his chest. And he's going to try and launch counter-attack now. Stefanovic. The header is only as far as Rodri, though. And now Erling Haaland might be in. Konsa is with him, though. Konsa's turned around. Haaland is there. But big Emi Martinez makes the save. And it remains 1-1, but it is a corner. And we do have to be concerned because it's a corner and they've got a few big lads. Ayer, though, beats Erling Haaland on that occasion. Get in there, boy. They've changed their system to a 4-2-3-1. Utter madness. The Devils, how dare they? Right, 93rd minute, 94th minute, 95th minute, full time. We've done really, really well to avoid defeat there. And we've done really well to push them. And I tell you what, you have to say, we are starting to look like a team that deserves to be where we are in the table. When you see us do games like that, away from home against Manchester City with the quality of the players they've got, okay, they're playing a 4-4-2, which Manchester City would never play in real life. So I do get a little bit baffled when the game does things like that. However, when you consider that, we're top of the table, which is ridiculous, don't get me wrong. But when you look at the squad that we've got, oh God, I've just seen someone wants a new deal. When you look at this squad, and again, we do not have our full 11 fit. We are missing our main Mazzala. Other than that, though, that's the squad, really. When you bear in mind Pedro, when he comes in, that's a really good team. Like, genuinely. I'm not saying it should be winning the Premier League, but I can understand why it's competing the way that it is. We've got a really good English front three. Gonçalves is fantastic in FM. Vitinha has ups and downs, but is a good player when you look at him statistically. And when you look at his actual attributes, he looks really, really good. We've got someone in Ayer who's a brick wall and a replacement in Sander Berge who does the same job. We've got Coutinho and Buendia on the bench who should be starting. We've got Thiat who's got a lot of quality. We've got Ezri Konsa who's an England international. we've got depth everywhere. So when you look at the Premier League table and you see that that is the way that it looks, I can completely understand it, to be honest with you. I'm very happy with how this season is going so far. Very happy indeed. Right, we will be back in the month of, well, we'll do what we normally do. We'll come back in February. So we'll see you for the Champions League first knockout round. We'll find out who we're going against in that video. And we'll come back for whatever games. I mean, we're still in the EFL Cup. For all I know, we'll get to another surprise bloody final again. I still don't know how that happened. But I'll try and keep pay more attention to what the games are that I'm playing. We've got the quarterfinal against Fulham. I would suggest we'll get past Fulham. And then we'll see how it goes from there. But we have got some stinky games coming up. We've got Chelsea, we've got Arsenal, we've got Spurs, we've got United, we've got Chelsea, and then we've got Liverpool. So that January to February stretch, that's where we're probably going to get really tested. Liverpool are right on our heels as well. It's a duel between us two at the moment. I mean, you know, Community Shield shows everything. You can see that 4-4 game. That feels like the season so far. It's back and forth, but I think we'll come back in that period, Champions League, and one of the games around it as well. These fixtures obviously might change depending on how things go. But that is what the plan is. One more look at the table. Isn't that a thing of beauty? Top of the table. Class. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, as always, please do leave a like on the video for me. And subscribe to the channel so you never miss any of the Football Manager content that comes out from the channel. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.